you hang out with certain friends for a little while, you end up saying their phrases and sounding more like them. Well, kids are like that with their parents, only they're with them all the time, and it's their biggest role model in life. So here with more on how we can make sure our kids are mirroring the right behaviors from us is family therapist and author Ken Dolan-Del. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good to see you, Danny, as always.
Yeah.
And it's so important today. We live in a world where there's kind of a lot of nastiness. And so at home, parents have to model the things that they want their kids to do. And a friend of mine once told me, she said, you know, kids don't misbehave, they behave. And that's really true for little kids. They don't know anything. They don't know anything. And so we have to teach them. And so think about your kid is always watching you. And that means that you should do things like say please and thank you to them. Be kind to them. And it also means that you should think about when you're new to the world, things that wouldn't be scary to me or you might be. So for example, just getting your hair cut, some kids are really frightened of that. So you want to do things like you take your child with you when you get your hair cut, and you have them sit on your lap and you talk about, hey, this is fun. Same when you're going to the dentist.
I'm fascinated by this.
You let them sit with another adult and watch, and you teach them through modeling that the world is a welcoming place, and that their role is to participate in a way that's calm and courteous. Keep in mind, kids don't misbehave, they behave, and your job as a parent is to help shape that.
I love the idea of bringing them to the dentist because you want them to see what manners look like, how people talk to one another.
Absolutely, some things are not even always comfortable, but they're not the kind of thing that you should freak out about. When I would take my son, when my son's mom and I would take my son to the dentist, sometimes we'd see in another room there'd be a child. He was going to a dentist who took care of little children. There would be a child who was just red-faced and screaming. There's no need for that. There's no need for that. And also, even just going out to dinner, right? Some kids are really all over the place, and they're running around and they're making a racket. It's a good idea. Take your child to restaurants when they're very, very little, and set them up even. So, for example, you know those little containers that have sugar and sweet and low, those kinds of things, salt and pepper. Put it at hand's reach for your child. And if they grab it, say, no, sweetie, that's not for you, and take it away from them, and very kindly just put it away from them, so that you're shaping their behavior. You're shaping them with both letting them do some things and putting some limits on the things that they shouldn't do, so that they grow into judgment that is more mature, that's more appropriate in a social environment. The thing you want to do is keep thinking, if you're the parent of a very young child, start early. Start really, really early and shape their behavior.
We lose sight of ourselves a lot when we're driving. Because there's a crossroads you have where somebody cuts you off, you cut somebody off. You might get into a verbal argument with somebody through a window, and you want your child to see that you treat people with respect, but you also want your kid to think that you're strong.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to be assertive, and we have to show our own willingness to take up space in the world. So I'm not saying that you should help your child to be self-effacing. Absolutely not. And also, none of us are perfect. I mean, we all do that kind of stuff. We scream sometimes when something happens in traffic that we don't like. But then we can also, one of the things you can think about is you can always revisit these kinds of things with your child. You can say, oh, that wasn't the best, what I just did, you know, I kind of lost it a little bit.
That's true. Show them self-reflection, vulnerability, that's good.
And if you get really hostile towards your child even, you can apologize. You can show them, I take responsibility when I do something wrong. Another thing that we see very little of these days, and we need to do it. We need to take responsibility for the errors we make.
Definitely. Ken, thank you for being here. We appreciate having you. I am sorry we don't have more time. I'm sincerely sorry.
No need for apology.
I appreciate it.